Should be refuah shlema for Alon, Yehuda, Yosef, Ben, Chana, Miriam, and for every other Jew who's suffering from physical and mental, psychological, emotional health issues, spiritual at the primary, and Svat Hashem, it should be an aliyah of the neshama for everybody who needs it. And, yeah. For everybody who needs it. Okay? So we started a very famous Torah in Likutey Moharan. This is one of Rav Nachman's classics. This is called Chotem B'toch Chotem. Again, for the people who are new to the class, we usually reserve the questions for like the last 15 minutes, so keep them in mind. And usually people will bring a piece of paper, they'll write it down so they don't forget, and then in the last 15 minutes, Bezrat Hashem will address them. So, Chotem B'chotem, Chotem B'toch Chotem. Okay? So, this is 22.
Again?
Kaf Bet, we're not done yet. This is a long tour, very long tour. So, in a nutshell, what we've done so far is we've discussed that when Hashem brings a decree into the world, He first lets the real tzaddikim of the generation know what's going to happen. So we're going to learn a little bit through the Torah why He does that. Part of the reason, and a little hint, is that what will come as a result of them knowing that something bad is going to happen is greater than if He never brought the decree to begin with. The Midrash compares the Jews to olives because the essence of the olive is the oil, and there's no way to get that oil without crushing the olive. Sometimes Hashem brings decrees to the world just to have us pray for it not to happen, because that itself is the Geula. That the redemption itself is your prayer, and that is what you yourself are looking for. And because you don't know how to get there, Hashem will bring negativity to your life just to get you to have that prayer. Okay? So this is part of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to see that that prayer is a higher level than the good thing itself. So the first seal, there's a seal within a seal. To protect yourself, you need the tzaddikim. They are the inner seal. And then the outer seal is your emunah. When your emunah is blemished, then the tzaddikim are also blemished and they're also not able to protect. So in a very, very simple way, when your emunah is whole, you're protected from all harm. But when your emunah is lacking, then the tzaddikim themselves, their prayers are not as effective. And the Sitra Achra, the other side, is able to nourish and to create a more harsh decree than the one that Hashem Himself even gives. So we see it can deteriorate very quickly just when there's Bagam and Emunah. We learned in the past many Torahs that Rav Nachman brought down based on the dream he had of his grandfather, the Baal Shem Tov, said a person doesn't experience exile, aka suffering, unless he first has some blemish in his Emunah. He must first have a blemish in his Emunah before he suffers. It cannot be that you suffer and you do not first have some type of lacking in your Emunah. Okay? This is what we did so far. Then we said, what happens when your faith is whole and you are attached to tzaddikim, meaning that you are listening to their advice and you're living according to their advice? Then not only are you getting their advice, but you are actually drawing from where they get their advice from, which is a very high place called Shiva Roi, the 7 shepherds, which are Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, and David. You're going to say, yeah, but they're not here anymore. So the answer to that is twofold. One is that tzaddikim are more alive when they're not physically here than when they are here. One. The Gemara says that. Two is that they are not just people, they represent spiritual realities. Abraham is not just a person, there is a spiritual world, a spiritual reality called Abraham. And we can draw from that place. All of these Yitzchak, we draw from that place. Right? Okay? Now, then when we get from there, what's the benefit of getting from that? Then you can come to what's called the Emunah Shlema, which is complete emunah, which is redemption, which is geula, which is Yeshua, which is what we're all looking for, what we're all waiting for. But you can only get it when the tzaddik's advice is coming from those 7 shepherds. But that can only be when you have complete emunah in that tzaddik. So you see, the ability for you to benefit from the tzaddik himself is for what you bring to the table, is your faith. Your faith in Hashem, your faith in the Torah, your faith in that tzaddik, and your faith in yourself. When you're lacking in any of these levels, then you're not able to draw completely from him, and then you're not able to get from the seven shepherds. But the only way that you're able to draw close to a true tzaddik, you need something called holy chutzpah. Chutzpah is to go beyond your bounds, right? There are boundaries, you cross them. But when it comes to Kedusha, it's a good thing. You see many times in the Torah that Abraham Avinu, that Yaakov Avinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu, David HaMelech, they stepped way beyond their bounds, what's considered polite, for the sake of Hashem, for the sake of the Jewish people, and Hashem loved it. The Midrash says over and over again how much Hashem loves that. Practical example, Abraham Avinu was informed that the city of stone was going to be destroyed. Abraham's prayer to him was very intense, and for someone who knew better than anybody who ever lived that everything that Hashem does is for the good, so Abraham more than anyone should know to stay quiet, so to speak. But he himself begged and pleaded to Hashem and even accused him of not being just. He didn't do it explicitly, but he did it implicitly. If someone who is really just going to do something like this, how about if there's this many tzaddikim in that city? Okay, less. Okay, less. Okay, less. Like really, really digging away at Hashem that you're going to do something.
Well, he find out him it wasn't.
What's that?
Then he find out that it wasn't 10, it wasn't 5.
Right. But the point was that Hashem loved this. The Midrash says Hashem loved the fact that Abraham prayed like this. Okay? So this is the source for us praying to Hashem like this.
And that's the difference between him and Noah? The chutzpah?
Yes, the holy chutzpah is a big difference. And that's part of the reason why it says that Jews are brazen. The negative of this, it says that people who are brazen are destined for Gehenna, right? The positive of this is that it can get you to Gan Eden. So you see that to be holy chutzpah, to have chutzpah, can be your make or break. You need to take that quality and use it for Kedusha. I told you guys many times the story of my cousin and how he woke up from a coma. And that was definitely the holiest chutzpahdik tefillah I ever had. And for sure it was from that prayer that he woke up. So you see that Hashem likes it, otherwise he wouldn't do that.
Chutzpah you mean as being not afraid to ask?
Not afraid to beg and to cry and to plead to Hashem and to bring every... Rav Nachman says when you pray to Hashem, you should bring every single case, every excuse, every plea. Like you're a lawyer coming to court. You should bring everything you have. Yes, just like Hannah. Very good. Just like Hannah. He loves this. Hashem loves this. Okay? He says you should be like a little kid. He compares it to like you're a son, you have a father. You know your father can give it to you and he's not. How would you beg and plead to him to give you this thing? He says you should be praying like that.
But that won't be a lack of emunah.
No.
Because if you know everything comes from Hashem and everything is for you very
So we spoke about, very good question, but we spoke about this all the way back a year and some months ago, Torah Bet, where we said that there is 2 levels of klipa that we have to shed. Okay? The first level of klipa is called Esav. This klipa is, I'm not going to pray, God's not going to answer me anyway. Where I don't even care. Right? I care about the physical world, I don't care about spiritual things, whatever. That's Esav. When you get past there, many people don't know this, you have a more subtle klipa called Yishmael. Very, very subtle. That's also just as bad for you, but it's not obvious at all. And the mashal, the allegory to this, is when you have the Brit Milah. When you have the Brit Milah, you see very clearly there's a heavy foreskin, you have to remove it. If you see foreskin and you don't see foreskin, you could tell instantaneously that he has it or he doesn't have it. That's like Esav. But under that, there is something called the Priya, which is a translucent piece of skin, see-through piece of skin, which is very, very thin, and it almost looks like it's part of the part. And the Shulchan Aruch says if you don't remove that also, it's like you never had a Brit Milah. So what is that? This is Yishmael. Yishmael looks just like the real thing, but if you don't remove him, it's not kosher. Okay? What is that in this sense? Rav Nachman says, when you think to yourself, everything Hashem does is for the best, everything is for the good, so why should I pray for it anyway? He says that's Yishmael.
I mean, because like he already knows what's in my heart. Why should I pray for it anyway?
Or like Daniel's saying, if I already completely believe in Hashem, why would I pray for a change anyway? Right? So Rav Nachman says, this is Yishmael. This is a klipa. You have to push through that also. Because Hashem makes it very clear, He wants our prayers. Wants it anyway. A good question, okay?
You're saying also in a way that I understand it's a great thing that a person who gets a Brit Milah at a young age, once he's old enough, he should double check his Brit.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
If you got it from every rabbi knows this. If you're going to give a Brit Milah, they're all well versed. If I know it, they definitely know it. They're removing the priya. They know. I'm just trying to make it, it's an amazing connection between these two klipas and the fact that these are actually two physical klipas on your Brit.
Why does it seem like a person doesn't have the fear of these guys?
We have to wait. Okay? There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. It is. We have to hold it, okay?
So do what? Like these klippas are sitting down in our foundation?
These klippers are always getting in the way of our direct, intense experience of Hashem in our life. The first one is always more obvious. The second one is always more subtle. The one that's more obvious is called Esav. It's called Christianity. And the one that's more subtle is called Islam. It's called Yishmael. Why is that more subtle? Because people of Yishmael really have faith. They have tremendous faith. However, what they have faith in is another question. But they have real faith. So what's that faith? That's a klipa. So he said like this, the only way to counter the brazenness that you need to in order to get close to a real tzaddik, to get the faith that comes with the 7 shepherds, is through holy chutzpah while you pray. What does that look like? All of the sounds that come out of your mouth. Crying, sighing, moaning, groaning, screaming. All of these things to Hashem, this breaks the chutzpah and allows you to come close to the tzaddik.
How many are there that Rabbi Nachman teaches that come from sound?
How many different sounds are there?
It was 4, no?
Any sound that is coming within your heart when you pray to Hashem.
4, sighing, screaming.
I'm just telling you them. He doesn't say that here.
He doesn't say
He mentioned sighing, but I'm telling you it's more than sighing. It's any heartfelt prayer and anything that comes from that heartfelt prayer. It's crying, it's sighing, it's whatever is coming while you're intensely praying.
So he's teaching that even sighing, which not so many think that it's such a big...
So Rav Nachman has a whole Torah on the power of sighing. It's a very good thing. In fact, if you want to see a Breslaver, many times you won't know obviously who's Breslav, because if they don't have the payout, you don't know. But if you hear a guy in shul randomly make a big sigh during his Amidah, he's a Breslaver. I'm telling you. If you hear a guy go, there was one guy I used to teach in my yeshiva. You would never know he's a Breslaver. Every single time we went to go pray, you heard. But the ha is not coming from despair. Okay? The sighing is coming from, I just wish it was better. I know that Hashem can, and He's not. No. As long as it's not coming from impatience. If it's just coming from yearning for something better, Hashem loves that. That's a sigh. That's a holy sigh. Okay. So he says like this. The key to all of the things that we just discussed, and this is what we discussed about last night, which was a really amazing thing. And listen very carefully. Nachman says you have to have deep empathy for your body, for your physical body. You have to have compassion and empathy for your body. How do you have empathy for your body? By nullifying it. Okay? How do you have empathy for your body? By allowing it to have contact with your soul. We said, based on the Tanya, that Hashem desires that He has a dwelling place below in this physical world. I made the connection that just like Hashem is to the body, David HaMelech says, your soul is to your body. So therefore, your soul desperately wants a dwelling place within your physical body. How does your soul get to dwell within your body? when your body is pure. What does a pure body look like? When your body is serving your soul and not the other way around. Meaning, when my actions, my physical actions, are only a vehicle and an expression of my soul. My soul wants to learn about God. My soul wants to talk to God. My soul wants to attach itself to God. My soul wants to connect to God. My soul wants physical satiation, so I have energy to connect with God. My soul wants to sleep now, so that I have a new machadish, a renewal of consciousness. When my physical actions are for the sake of my soul, then your body becomes pure. The more that you do this. But like most people, their body is actually in charge and their soul is in exile. When I eat for the sake of eating, when I drink for the sake of drinking, when I sleep for the sake of sleeping, when I have sex for the sake of having sex, when I waste seed for the sake of pleasure, not for anything higher, then your body is not pure, and then your soul and your body are not connected. Even though your soul is there, it's called an exile. It's called galut. And this causes all of the suffering in our life. Okay? So in order to move past this and to transcend this, our work is not necessarily increasing our soul. Our soul is godly. Our work is actually just revealing our soul, which is to make our bodies go from this to more like this. Meaning what's inside is the same, but you can't see what's here. But you could see what's here because this is clear. This is your spiritual process. No, not yet. Closer, almost there. And this is when you have completely purified your body. A very sweet feminine ready.
Get it closer to the camera.
It's quote unquote empty of ego.
Yes. When there's no more yesh. Okay. So this is what we've done so far together. We compared this to the shofar. We said that actually the sounds of the shofar, right, that was amazing, right? The sounds of the shofar are actually connected this whole process. It's unbelievable. Only Rav Nachman says things like
I
this.
shared it with somebody. They were also.
Yeah, it's amazing. All of his stories like this, by the way. But when I react like this, Benny says I say this every time because it really is. It's all amazing. He says the first sound is tekiah, right? And what's tekiah? That is the sound. That's the sound of the cry. Meaning the holy chutzpah that you have. When you cry to Hashem, when you scream to Hashem, when you beg Hashem, that's called tekiah. That's the sound of your soul awakening from the difficulty. However, what is the benefit of that? Is that breaks your physical desires that are based on ego. That's why the next sound is called shvarim, because it comes from the word shaver, which is to break. And then once your ego is broken, your physical desires are broken, then you have trua, which comes from the word ra'eh, which is to shepherd. Meaning now you get your emunah from the 7 shepherds. Right? So you see the whole Torah that we just said comes from this. It's amazing. Okay. Now, Hashem, unbelievable. I'm telling you, it's an amazing thing. Hashem makes me live the Torah so that I'm able to give it to you. He blew the show apart big time for me. I had such an Yerida today for the sake of an Aliyah, and you're going to see very deeply how it was in the Torah, and he gave me so much chidushim. All day and night he was giving me chidushim in this Torah. Even when I was rocking my baby to sleep, I was having chidushim about Adam and Gan Eden and Moshe Rabbeinu. Something unbelievable. It was amazing energy. I'd like to see if anybody passed away today or something. A lot of times when these things happen, I look back and I see the Baal Tanya passed away today, or the Baal Shem Tov today. Wow.
Really?
Okay. So you see, when the body becomes pure, the soul, you can just start to feel things. Okay, so now listen to this Torah. I need you to really pay attention. It's very, very deep. It's very beautiful, okay? I said to you guys, how do you get to the point that your body goes from this to this? How do you do that? So we alluded to it, okay? But now we're going to say the main way that you do this. So listen, focus. V'lavo livchinat basar, the way that you get your body to the concept of what's called flesh, meaning it's clear, it's translucent. Great, thank you. Better now that you're here. How do you do this? Ayadei hashimush. What is shimush? Shimush is to serve, to do service, to do. It's like, for instance, when there's a servant and there's a master, and the servant serves his master. That's called shimush. Or let's say, for instance, there's a big tzaddik in Eretz Yisrael, and you heard about him, and you heard that he has unbelievable advice, and he's amazing, and he can save your life. You should spend a few weeks with him in Israel. And if you go there and you spend time with him, and you ask him questions, and you do things for him, that's called, I had shimush with that Rebbe. Okay? Ayadesh ha-shemeshamesh et ha-chacham. When you serve the chacham, naaseh bechinat basar chacham, that you actually become the body to his soul. Okay? So this is called shimush. So this is the way that you purify your body, by being a complete, nullified eved to the chacham. What does that mean? That means to the tzaddik of the generation, but it also means to the tzaddik within you. Your godly soul is called tzaddik yesod olam, and you must be a eved to your soul. This is the only way you get to purify yourself. This is the only way you do it. So what does that look like? Where do we see shimush in the Gemara? Where is there an explanation in the Gemara for what shimush is? There's 3 different places in the Gemara where shimush is discussed. We're going to look at all 3, and we're going to see how they all apply to us now with Rabbeinu, even though he's not physically here. So you need to pay attention now, because if you are able to engage in these 3, you'll be able to purify your body and experience the sounds of your soul. Okay? So it goes like this. In Masechet Sota, Rashi says there, what does it mean to serve your master? Meaning to serve your Rebbe. It means to learn his teachings deeply. Okay? So when you learn your Rebbe's teachings intensely and consistently, that's called shimush by the Rebbe. 1. Number 2, it says in Masechet Brachot that a sage, when you study his teachings, it's not as beneficial as serving him. It's more beneficial to do things for him than even to learn his Torah. So what's the reason for that? That seems far-fetched. One of the reasons is that the teachings, so to speak, are concealed from you until you see him perform them. And then once you see him do them, you see what they look like in reality. So therefore, by serving him, then his Torah becomes life for you, becomes a reality for you.
You're literally living the Torah.
Yeah, you get to see him, and therefore what was once his abstract wisdom now becomes your day-to-day life. Okay? That's 2. Number 3, we see in Masechet Ketubot, to what extent should you serve your Rebbe? To what extent should a Talmid serve his Rebbe? To what extent should a student serve his teacher? So very interesting there. Sephardim are probably, I wouldn't say probably, they're much more connected to this concept than Ashkenazim are. Hasidim even more so. It says there, how much should the student serve his Rebbe? He said he should do everything that a servant does for his master, beside untie his shoes. So what do I have to be busy with?
Untie whose shoes?
The Rebbe's shoes. If the Rebbe says to him, hey, can you go get me some food? Like he came for the lesson for, let's say, half an hour. I came, there's the only half an hour I come to learn. But my Rebbe knows that I'm dedicated to him and I'm there for him. He has an email day. He says, you mind just getting me some food from the supermarket, come back to me. And you know you're going to miss the whole class. So the Gemara there says you should go do it. Why should you go do it? You're actually going to get more from doing that than from hearing his Torah. Okay? To what extent does that go? To the extent of just, you should not take his shoes off. Everything else you should do for him. Untie his shoes. Whatever. You get the point. Okay? So we should be serving him a lot. Why is that? Because what happens, according to Rav Nachman, and now it makes sense, it's unbelievable. He says, when you serve your Rebbe like this, then your body becomes his body. By you serving him, it's as if you've taken the sage's, the chacham's soul, and you've attached it to your body. Because your body is now serving that soul, and now that soul is giving light to your body. Does that make sense?
Now I understand your
Right? Like this. Again. All of our lackings are coming from the fact that we have mochin de katnut.
What is this?
This means lower, this means constricted
Small
consciousness.
mind.
Small mind in Indian language. Small mind. But in
Oh, thank you.
little bit. Okay? This is a very important term. Rav Nachman says that the only difference between the tzaddik and his tamidim is mochin de katnut and mochin de gadnut. The students have small mind, and the tzaddik has an expanded consciousness. Why is his consciousness expanded? Because his vessel is pure. Our vessel is not pure. How do we purify it? We attach our impure vessel to his pure mind. And by doing this purifies our vessel. So when you serve your master, that means when the body serves the soul. Because in essence, who is the tzaddik really? Who is your Rebbe really? Rav Nachman says he's the root of your soul. I don't have one. Oh, I do have one. He's the root of your soul. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? No? Almost. Again. Let's say the only difference between me and you is that I know a little bit more than you. Okay. So then what would allow you, so to speak, to come to where I am? To know that. But the only reason I know that is not because I'm smarter than you. That has nothing to do with that. It's because I've surrendered my ego. I have purified my body. When you purify your body, you'll also know what I know. So how do you do that? By attaching your body to my mind. How do you attach your body to my mind? Simply when you do physical things for me. When you do physical things for me,
Or whenever he listens to you.
then the light of my mind infuses your body and purifies it. This is the reason why Rav Natan was able to experience all the light of Rav Nachman. It wasn't necessarily because he was smarter than any of the other students. It was because he completely nullified himself to Rav Nachman. And by doing that, then Rav Nachman's mind became the soul to Rav Natan's body.
Because of Nachman's the soul of Nassim is going to like the body.
Yeah, because he served him to that extent. And because he spent his whole life sacrificing himself for that, he probably did it because of this Torah. That's shimush. Meaning, I'm not going to lose out by sacrificing and going through difficulties in order to spread the light of this tzaddik. I'm going to be able to receive more of that light.
It's similar to like a Zachar Zavul type.
Yes, exactly. That whole Zachar Zavun thing is really like body to soul.
What is that? Sefer?
It's a famous halakhic concept, which is this is like the number one tzedakah Torah learning relationship, which is that somebody goes and he learns Torah, somebody is in the work world, and he supports that person's learning. And because he would not be able to learn like that if not for this person, that person who works gets that guy's learning. He gets his schar, he gets his reward. But even deeper than that, if you have the relationship, not just that you're making the money for him, but that serving him allows his body to be purified. So that the tzaddik's learning actually purifies his body and he gets that learning as well. It's not just his schar, he literally gets that limud.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yes, it's like a chain reaction. It's like one of these. Alright? Okay? Is everybody with me right now?
We all have to unite.
What?
We all have to unite.
Yes, we have to unite. But how do you unite? By nullifying yourself.
Yeah, I get it, by
Yeah,
surrendering.
that's shalom. That's peace. The peace and the unity comes from nullification. Okay? So now, this all sounds great. We have these three levels. We have learning the Torah deeply. Right? That was the first one. We had seeing the teacher perform the mitzvot, so we see in real life how he lives out his teachings. And then finally we had physically serving him. But we can't do these three things because Rav Nachman's not here. He's not teaching us, right? We can't see him do the action. And we can't serve him. He's not alive, right? So, Rav Moshe Breslaver, what a name. He was one of the main Talmidim of Rav Natan. He actually shows how these three levels, we can all still do this while Rav Nachman's not here. How do we do this? So he says like this, and this is what's important for us. The first level of learning his teachings intensely, you can do it from the Sfarim. You can do it from the books. This is exactly what we're doing every night. So all of us are accomplishing this first level of Shimush 4 nights a week, which is amazing. Okay? That's probably one of the reasons why Rav Chaim Kramer came. Because on paper, why was he so impressed that we learned this much of Rav Nachman? And he told me afterwards, keep going. Big things are going to happen for them because of this. He said, you guys are really good. This is going to be very good. Because there's a lot of shimush. Okay? That's one. Second,
What is Shemush again?
it's like physical, it's like interaction. To serve the master. Shimush. It's like when a servant serves his master. So we said the first level is learning his teachings. We're doing that. Okay. 2, he says when you speak to your friends about the tzaddik's teachings, that replaces the second level. So when you go to your friends and you're like, hey, I'm learning this, like you told your friend, that's the second level of shimush. When you give over concepts that you learn in the classes to your friends, that's also shimush. Okay? You can do that as well, and you don't need to be a rabbi or anything to do this. You just talk to your friends about what you're learning. This helps me. I did this. This helped me with this. That's the second level of shimush. Okay. What is the third and final level of shimush? It's to physically serve the master. This seems like the most, we can't do this at all. How am I going to do everything except for untie his shoes? I can't do anything for him. And the answer is, he wanted more than anything that his wisdom should spread. So therefore, when you do anything physically to make that happen, that is the third level. Meaning, when you give tzedakah to let's say Breslov Research Institute, when you give tzedakah to Rav Shalom Arush, when you give tzedakah to people who are disseminating and spreading his teachings, so that's as if you physically served him. If you, anything in this matter is called physical service, and that also allows you to. If you get more people to come to the class to learn his Torah, also that. Anything that you do physically on your end to have Rav Nachman's Torah spread more is the third level. When you do all three of these levels, your body will become purified so that your body is able to experience the perceptions of your soul. And then your body's perceptions become your soul perceptions. And we're going to see in a moment what that is. Okay? Everybody with me right now? Okay, good. So now listen to what he says. It says, V'li Yerushalayim Mivaser 10, a very famous pasuk. It says by Yeshaya, to Yerushalayim, a Mibaser, a messenger of good tidings, I'm going to send. And who is that messenger? Eliyahu Hanavi. He's going to tell us Mashiach is coming, right? Rav Nachman says, read Mibaser as Mibasar. Not the messenger, Mibasar. From your flesh, I'm going to give you good tidings that Mashiach is coming, your redemption is coming. Meaning your flesh is going to experience what your soul experiences. You hear what he's doing with this? Yerushalayim means complete faith. He says, I'm going to send you good tidings that Yerushalayim's coming, meaning you're going to have complete emunah. And where is it going to come from? Not mibaser, the tidings, but mibasar, from your flesh, you're going to experience it.
Enjoyment.
No. The purification of your body is going to allow your body to then experience what your soul experiences. We learned earlier in this Torah, your soul is constantly communicating and attaching itself to divinity, God.
Okay.
So it's constantly experiencing higher and higher revelations of God. Why don't I experience that? The answer is because your body is not a vessel, and therefore you're not conscientious of what's happening. You can't hear those sounds. Because your body's too loud. But when you quiet your body down, then you can hear that quiet sound of your soul, which is actually very loud. It's so loud, it's quiet.
So you're saying we quiet it down.
Yes, yes,
As in making more noise.
yes. The body is making a lot of noise.
Nachman says scream so loud that you can hear you.
Yes, and that's why Rav Aryeh Kaplan says that for anybody to experience their soul at any level, they first have to start by quieting their body.
Very interesting.
So talking to myself is not good.
Talking to yourself is good.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, very good. Anytime you talk, you're quieting your body down because you're expressing your soul. That's why Bodhidut is so powerful, and why it causes such bitul. Because when you speak, Zat Hashem. When you speak, you're expressing your soul, and expressing your soul quiets your body. That's why it says when Yaakov goes up, Esav goes down. Yaakov is Kol Yaakov. It's your voice. It's your voice. It's your soul.
When the soul goes
Up, the body goes down. Right.
And vice versa.
Right. When your body goes up, the soul goes down. So Yaakov is your soul, and Esav is your body. That whole relationship is a parable to your soul and your body. So when Yaakov goes up, Esav goes down. So when your voice comes out, meaning when you speak Kedusha, when you pray to Hashem, when you learn Torah, that's called Kol Yaakov. That's going up. And when Kol Yaakov goes up, the hands of Esav go down. That's why Esav's name means Esav. It means physicality. Esav, to do. Physical. That's why he was connected to the ground. Okay. In other words, for a person to achieve complete emunah, he must receive it from true tzaddikim of the generation, because it's impossible to draw close to them except through this holy boldness that comes from screaming to Hashem, crying to Hashem, talking to Hashem, from verbalizing your soul to Hashem. And when you do this, then you're able to merit it. Now the question should be, everybody with me? Everybody come back. How do I become bold like this? How do I get to the point that I can cry to Hashem? How do I get to the point that I can talk to Hashem like this, so intensely, so intimately, so real, that I could scream to Hashem, that I could moan to Hashem? I don't do that right now. I would like to, but I don't. So what allows me to be able to do that? How come when I go to pray and do Ibodu, no words are coming out? Right? So if Nachman has preempted you, he says, how do you come to this quality of holy chutzpah that you're able to pray and cry like this to Hashem? Hu al yedei simcha. Only through happiness. You're only able to come to this intense level of prayer through joy. Like it says, Ki chedvat Hashem hi ma'uzchem. It's an open pasuk in Nehemiah. It says that the joy of Hashem is your boldness. It's literally the pasuk. Your boldness is going to come from joy of Hashem. That doesn't just mean happiness. It doesn't mean the happiness that comes when you eat a candy bar. It means when your happiness comes from serving Hashem, then you're going to merit to have real prayer. Holy chutzpah. You'll be able to pray like Abraham and like David and like Moshe, to scream to Hashem, to cry to Hashem. It comes from joy. So you should have a question. How do I get that joy? What is joy? Also very good. We're going to see later on in the Torah it says how you get this joy. So we have a whole chain of events here. You have this, you can only have this, you have this, you can only... I'll do a recap at the end, but just try and stay with, and we'll try and put all the pieces together. Listen to this. This is very, very deep. This is amazing, amazing Torah. It says like this. Ayedei bechinat simcha. Through simcha, you come to a state of what's called naaseh v'nishma. Naaseh v'nishma. You said, what's real happiness? Right? Rav Nachman answers the question. Real happiness is called the state of Naaseh v'nishma. It's called I will do and I will hear. So what is that? He says that's simcha. Like it says in Masechet Shabbat. Like it says in Masechet Shabbat, B'sha'amru Yisrael Naaseh v'nishma. At the time that the Jewish people said Naaseh v'nishma, meaning we became happy. Yardu Shishim Ribo Malachim, 600,000 angels came down from that joy that we had. Ubenatnu shnei atarot barosh kol echad, and they placed 2 crowns on every Jew's head. One for Naseh, we will do, and one for Nishma, we will listen. We were going to understand. We will do, and then we'll understand. They came from the joy that we had. Uchshatul nilkachu, but when we sinned, the angels came down, took away all 600,000 of the crowns that we were given, and they all went to Moshe Rabbeinu. And in the future, when Moshe is Mashiach, he's going to give them back. That's what the Gemara says in Shabbat. And how does he explain the end? It says, "V'simchat olam al rosham." Then the happiness of the world will be on their heads. This is the pasuk from Yeshaya. So you see, the pasuk from Yeshaya is talking about that Gemara. What does it mean that the simcha of the world, of the universe, is going to be on their heads? It's talking about the Jews at the time of redemption, when we receive the Torah again from Mashiach. Okay. So now listen to this. Rav Nachman says it's impossible to be a completely sincere Jew if he's not attached to the tzaddik of his generation. If you are not attached to the true tzaddik of your generation, he says impossible, no matter how much you try, to be a completely sincere Jewish person.
Wow, it's a big statement.
Yes, very much. He says, when there is no tzaddik, when the tzaddik has not yet come to the world, you can do it on your own. He says, but once the tzaddik comes to the world, it's impossible now to do it on your own. You hear what he's saying?
Once he's here, you could do it.
When he's not here, you could do it on your own. It's possible. Once he's here, you can't do it on your own anymore. You need to attach yourself to him. So I was thinking to myself, where do you see this? Where is he getting this from? And I was thinking to myself, Abraham discovered Hashem on his own. There was no tzaddik of the generation. He had nobody to learn Torah from. However, once Moshe Rabbeinu came on the scene, the Jews could only find Hashem through him. You with me? Another example.
I was thinking it's more like they say the Torah is fire, and fire, it could even use the oxygen in water to keep burning.
Okay.
So, it's just, the more flammable things that you have,
Yeah.
the more light.
And you're saying it would be dangerous, so you need the tzaddik, so that's good for you?
I just look at it as you become one. It's like
You mean when you learn the Torah, you become one with it?
Right.
Because it's like fire. Okay, very good.
it's like
But I would add more to that. I would actually say that you're saying good in a way you don't even realize. Because it's fire, you need the tzaddik to give it to you at your flame level. Some guy could
Contain
take
the fire.
200 degrees, some guy could take 250, some guy could take 300. When the tzaddik comes, meaning the master chef, you need him to salt. But prior to him coming, you can salt it yourself. So I was thinking again, who else? Adam found Hashem on his own. Noach didn't have anybody who taught him. He also found Hashem on his own. However, once Yosef Atzadi came on the scene, his brothers could not connect to Hashem until they came to Yosef in Mitzrayim. So you see very clearly here, when there is no tzaddik, yes, you can do it on your own. But when Yosef the tzaddik or when Moshe Rabbeinu comes, you have to attach to them. You have to attach to them. Okay. So now listen to what Rav Nachman says right now. These 2 crowns that they got. Do you guys remember the beginning of the Torah we started days ago? Okay. The beginning of the Torah started like this: Bereshit bara Elokim.
Bereshit and bara.
Yeah, we said that the Zohar Sefer did Tzniuta, the book of Tzniut, modesty, where all the deepest secrets of the Zohar are. It says Bereshit is a full statement and bara is a half statement. What is the simple understanding of this? The word Bereshit is really bara shit. It's like 2 words. So together it's one full statement. But if you take half of that, it's just bara. Bereshit bara. So it's like 1 plus a half. Everybody with me? Bereshit bara. Bereshit is bara shit, bara. So it's a full statement and a half a statement. What does that mean? Now we have an answer. Bereshit is a complete statement. This corresponds with what's called the upper Eden, the upper wisdom, what is called Emunah. But the bara, which is a half a statement, is corresponding to a lower wisdom, which is called Torah. This is father and son, because the father represents potential and the son represents reality. The Torah is reality. Hashem created the real physical world through the Torah. But what the reality could be existed before in potential in Hashem's tefillah, so to speak, in His prayer. So too in our life, when something exists for you in potential, it's called tefillah. But when it becomes real for you, now it's Torah. Okay? So now like this. We will do and we will hear. What did this mean? Rav Nachman said, we will do, meaning, no, we will do, the opposite. We will do, I'm going to go physically do whatever I can, meaning it's real for me, that's called Torah. We will hear, meaning I'm going to understand something that was previously something I couldn't understand. That's something that's hidden for me right now. That's called tefillah. Everybody with me? 2 levels. Torah and tefillah. Real, hidden. The hidden is higher, but it's hidden from me. For me to get to that hidden, I first have to get the revealed. So how did we get the Torah? Because we said we will do and then we'll hear. Meaning, revealed and then hidden. Okay. For example, when a person fulfills the Torah, that's called Torah. But there is always a statement before the mitzvah. Listen to this, it's very deep. Did you ever wonder to yourself why it always says V'yomer Hashem el Moshe almost before every mitzvah? Right? The Torah, which the sages make a painstaking point all the time to say, the Torah does not waste words. The Torah does not add words. The Torah does not add meaningless things. To the extent that there was a rabbi who took every time that the word et comes up in the Torah, which is hundreds of times, and he said that there is a different meaning for that word every single time in the Torah. Because the Torah never brings extra. So why do you keep telling me, V'yomer Hashem el Moshe? Hashem said to Moshe, I got it the first time. Hashem told the Torah to Moshe. Why are you telling me hundreds of times before every single mitzvah Hashem said to Moshe? He says because the mitzvah is keneged Torah. It's keneged real. It's a real thing. But before you can experience that, it's hidden from you. And that's V'yomer Hashem el Moshe. Hashem says to Moshe. What does that mean in our life? Before you can experience God in your life, you always have a difficulty. You always go through a period of suffering, darkness, concealment. That period itself is what brings you to the Torah. It is the difficulties in your life that bring you light. That's the reason why the Jewish day starts with night and becomes light. Because the night always has to precede the light. Difficulties always have to precede redemption. Okay? So too, for you to have the Torah revealed to you, which is the mitzvah itself, you need first, Hashem says to Moshe, which nobody knows what that is. Because it's hidden, because it's mysterious, because it's the difficulty you're going through that you don't understand. You understand, Benny? Are you with me?
Yeah.
You understood?
Okay. You understand? We're saying something amazing right now. Every time that you're going through a difficulty in your life, you should say to yourself, this is V'yomer Hashem Moshe. Hashem said to Moshe, I need to go through this to hear, put on tzitzit. I need to go through this to see, put on a talit. I need to go through this in order to say, this is tefillin.
You know what that is, though? V'yomer Hashem el Moshe is like we said, the tzaddik and the person doing the thing for him is the body for the vehicle for the soul. So Hashem, which is the essence, is telling Moshe, his servant, go over like his body, his physical manifestation.
Nice. Very nice, Ben. Okay? Very nice. So now listen to this.
Not the only one to do shit.
You got it. I'm happy you have it. Okay.
I'm happy that you're happy.
So now listen to this. I have another chiddush. You ready? The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that these angels came down. They gave us 2 crowns each, and we were all there. By the way, we were all there at Matan Torah. Okay, we all had these 2 crowns, but when we all sinned with the golden calf, we lost them. Where did they go? They all went to Moshe. So the basic, simple understanding of that is that they're in exile. We'll get them back at the time of redemption. However, I think maybe Rav Nachman is teaching us a very deep thing, which is that they all went to Moshe. And Rav Nachman says that the tzaddik of every generation is Keneged Moshe. So therefore, by attaching yourself to the tzaddik, he still has all those crowns. And you get them also. Did everybody understand what I just said? Yay? Nay? No.
Yes.
The crowns left. They went to Moshe. Who's Moshe? He's the tzaddik. So therefore, when you connect to Moshe,
You got all the crowns.
you get all the crowns. Even now, before Mashiach. Benny, listen. What did I just say? I know because you would love this, okay? I was thinking of you after I thought about this. The Gemara says, the angels came down, gave 2 crowns to everybody. That was called Simcha. That was the first time we had real happiness, joy. Vanaseh v'nishma. He took it away from us with the Chet Ego. They all went to Moshe. Every crown, we had 600,000, that's 1.2 million crowns. They were all taken and given to Moshe. Simple understanding is, when redemption comes, when Mashiach comes, Mashiach is going to give us back the crowns.
And give us back Simcha.
Yeah. Okay. However, I think that Rav Nachman is teaching us something deeper and something more practical for us now, which is that Moshe is connected to the tzaddik of the generation. So therefore, when you attach yourself to him now, you get all of those crowns right now.
So it means there's a macrocosm and a microcosm of Mashiach.
Yeah.
And when Mashiach comes, it's the macro.
Yeah.
But whenever you attach yourself to him,
You
that's
get your
the
micro. Very good. You hear? When you're attached to the tzaddik, you get that experience now. And you want to know something amazing? Rav Nachman says, my students will not be fooled, and they're not going to be confused, and they're not going to be knocked off balance when Mashiach comes. Why did he say that? Because they already tasted it.
It's like they say you shouldn't hold hands before marriage with a girl. So
The girl, come back.
Why? And what's the connection?
you get used to things. You know?
Okay. And how do you connect that to
I
this?
heard even something something scientific, like if you give somebody a hug, you lower their blood pressure or something.
Probably.
And it's a lot of things the way that God made it. You know?
The creation.
Yeah, every little thing, like I lose my mind sometimes. These random facts pop up on these commercials because they want you to download their app. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, good. So he says like this: Torah and prayer. When we said Naseh v'Nishma, what we were saying is, I'm going to learn and I'm going to pray. Remember the first thing that we learned from Rav Nachman? Pray, learn, pray. Meaning Naseh v'Nishma. Very beautiful. So he says like this. Says like this. We will do is Torah. We will hear is tefillah. We will do is revealed. We will hear is hidden. Okay. Now, prayer, what is it? It is when you have devekut with Hashem. When you have attachment and cleaving to Hashem. That's what he says. When you have intimate connection, it's almost like when you're intimate with a woman, that's like prayer with Hashem. When you get really into it, it's sweet like that. For anybody who's experienced it. This is because it says in Tikkuni Zohar that hearing is dependent on the heart. Shomea is dependent on the heart. Okay? As it's written, give your servant a hearing heart. Shlomo Melech, when he became king, Hashem said to him, you can have anything you want. And what did he ask for? A hearing heart. He wanted a hearing heart. Why was that so important to him? Because Naaseh is the revealed level, but Nishma, to hear, is the hidden level. Kind of like how women, they're able to pick up on things that we're not privy to. Without those things being said, they have like a felt sense, a felt intuition. Why? Because the Midrash says they have an extra dose of Bina. And Bina is connected to the ears, and hearing is dependent on the heart. Because they have a bigger heart, so to speak, or they have greater soul power in the area of the heart, they're able to hear more what's happening. And they have greater intuition. So Shlomo Melech,
psychic somehow.
yeah. So this is the reason.
I just feel like every time, you know, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's like every time you talk to them, they can't be wrong. Because even if they're wrong,
They're right.
They're able to produce a new life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even if they're wrong, they're not wrong.
Right.
So,
They're always right. And what's the reason? They have an extra dose of Bina. And what does that mean? It means that they're able to hear. And they can hear because of the heart. Bina is the heart. So now like this. The service of tefillah, which is the service of the heart, this comes from bitul. What is supposed to happen when you pray? So we said this before. How do I know that my prayer is a good prayer? When you forget where you are. I know this sounds like a crazy high level. It's not. If Nachman says this is a good prayer. You want to know if I'm growing spiritually? The more that you're able to focus when you pray, and the less aware and conscientious you are of your surroundings while you pray.
this is terrible. I thought this was me spacing out every time I tried.
No, this is a very high level. It's a higher level of prayer. Unless you're just spacing out. But if your prayer is so intense, you're so into it, that you forget the people in the room around you, that is deveku. That's called deveku. Like for instance, when you are intimate with your wife, you're not thinking about the sounds in the kitchen. You don't see what's going on in your bedroom. You're very much in this intense attachment with your wife, and therefore your reality, your physical reality, so to speak, becomes nullified in that experience. So this is the same thing you're supposed to feel when you pray. Everybody with me?
But are you still aware of where you are? And
You mean which one?
When
The
you're with your
tefillah or
wife.
when you're with your wife?
yeah,
You're aware of where you are.
yeah.
Are you conscientious of where you are?
As if you just got married or 10 years later? Right?
Yeah, 10 years later, you're aware of everything except for the act. But don't listen to this. But initially,
Did he say how do you get back there?
you could say how you get back there, yeah. When you become more pure and your prayer becomes more intense, you're less aware of what's going on around you. Our inability to focus does not come from our ADHD. It comes with the impurity of our body. The whole reason why we're not able to focus is because we're sex crazed. It's because we see so much. It's because we're exposed to so much. It's because we have every food, every drink, every image, and every video of every woman at our fingertips. Because of this, we can't focus anymore. Because our bodies are so impure, as a result of this, our minds are not able to think clearly. It's not because we have ADD.
Like Versace, how he became attracted to men. He sewed his first dress when he was like a kid.
Yes. It's also led to a lot of other crazy things, okay? So now like this. When a person, why is this the concept of tefillah, that you have nullified yourself, that you're not aware of yourself anymore? Because the concept of the nishma we're going to hear is that it's not clear to you yet. Right? When we say Naaseh v'nishma, Rav Nachman says, Naaseh, we're going to do, it means it's revealed to me, I understand it. V'nishma means we're going to hear, we don't understand it yet. So that's like tefillah when you nullify yourself. When you nullify yourself, you don't understand what's happening anymore. So that's tefillah. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
I've been getting so frustrated. Just every time I try to concentrate more, I feel like I'm spacing out more. You know?
So try less. Try less, and try not looking at certain things during the day more. You're going to be able to concentrate more. You're not going to be able to concentrate by focusing more on your words. You'll be able to concentrate more by being very careful about what you say. Okay? So now he says like this. This concept of we will do and we will hear, it applies to every person at every level of every world. What does he mean when he says this? Let's say, for instance, you have been working on yourself for 6 months, and Daniel has been working on himself for a year, and Abraham has been working on himself for 2 years, okay? So let's say you're all genuine about it, you're all really working hard at this. So Rav Nachman says that your level of Venishma will be your level of Vanase. Meaning, your level of what's hidden from you is your level of what you experience. And your level of what's hidden from you is your level of what you experience. Everybody get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's depending on how
Everything is
you work on
relative
it.
to your level. To the extent that throughout your life you're constantly going from Vanaseh to Nishma, Vanaseh to Nishma, from Nishma to Naseh. Meaning I'm going from I'm going to do, meaning I get it, I understand it, Hashem has revealed to me, things are good, to Vanishma, I don't understand, things are not clear, things are dark. This is actually a higher level. But when you work on yourself enough, then that not understanding becomes a higher revelation for you. And then your nishma of I'm going to hear becomes vanaseh. And back and forth and back and forth. So that every person to their level is either a naseh or vanishma for the other person.
Then we sing Ani Lo Neri.
Yeah, and then we say Ani Lo Neri.
So it's
You
like
had a question? You understand what I'm saying?
it's like when you somehow come up with better advice for somebody else than you would in your shoes if you was going through the same thing.
Okay, good. So you're saying you have clarity, but he doesn't. Right, okay, good. So that's what we're saying. Your clarity is his confusion. And your confusion is his clarity. And his confusion is my clarity. Does that make sense? He says like this extends to every world, to all the olamot. That whatever is understood at the lowest world is good, but what he hears is only understood at a higher world, and so on and so forth. So therefore he says throughout your lifetime, you're constantly going back and forth between Naaseh, which is Torah, which is revealed, to Nishma, which is Tefillah, which is hidden from you. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So therefore when you're going through a difficulty, it's because you've reached a higher level. But now you need to turn that Nishma, that Tefillah, that difficulty into Torah. How do you do that? Through prayer. Meaning when things are going good, learn Torah. And when things are going bad, pray. And by praying when things are going bad, it becomes Torah for you.
It's always
Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's like daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime. You're constantly going back and forth while you're serving Hashem. You need to. Rav Nachman says, what is simcha? It's this process. When you're able to successfully go from vanaseh to vanishma back to naseh, that's where you get happy from.
can be both. Can be both at the same time.
What do you mean?
Praying and
Learning. Can you pray and learn at the same time?
Oh, meaning like at the same exact second?
Yeah.
Or throughout the day, you're praying and learning?
Period. Can you pray and learn at the same time? You can pray and learn at the same time? How do you pray and learn at the same time? So that's different. That's still praying though. Can you actually learn and pray at the same time? No. There's a time for praying and there's a time for learning. You need both, but you can't do them at the same time. You can't be doing well and suffer at the same time. You're either doing well or you're suffering. I'm not talking about different levels. I'm saying you can't be happy and be sad at the same time. You're either happy or you're sad. You cannot have happiness. You cannot be really, really happy and
Be happy about certain aspects of your life.
So I'm not saying certain. I'm saying in the same exact place. In one place, you can't be happy and sad.
Same moment you cannot have two feelings, basically.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you can't be happy about one thing and sad about another thing. I'm saying that about one thing, you can't be happy and sad.
You could be happy and sad about your wife.
No, because you're happy about some part of her and you're sad about another part of her.
So specific.
One thing, you can't be happy and sad. Are you with me?
Simcha like an emotion, above all other emotions. You're feeling simcha, you're actually like just feeling Hashem's revealed light. So it's not possible to feel sad if you're in a state of feeling.
For sure. Where does real spiritual happiness comes from? It comes from turning your difficulties into revelations of God. It comes from tefillah when things are going bad. It comes from tefillah when you're having difficulties in your life. This, when you experience it the right way, and then it becomes a revelation of God in your life, that's called real joy. That's the happiness. That's how you get happiness.
It's got to be all the time, you know. It's just it's a
Constant.
constant fight.
Yes.
If you learn to laugh, you know, just smile, take a deep breath, and just say, "Oh, I'm gonna get mad at this in a second. Give me 10 seconds, I'm gonna get upset at it." You're gonna look at it totally different because how the mind works, actually, how a lot of people start getting all these kinds of brain cancer and all kind of stuff, is when you get mad, you're blocking the way that your cells actually supposed to move. Not only you're blocking them, you're giving them messages to do something totally different. So, in essence, you're stopping yourself from actually thinking how you essentially think.
Right. You're not able to think clearly because you're getting angry.
It's very harmful.
Right.
Very harmful.
Right. It's true. The Arizal talks a lot about this. Yes. So we're saying like this. This concept of Vanasa Vanishma, it applies to everybody at every level, at every world. Okay? So that means that Benny's Vanishma is my Vanasa. What is hidden to Benny is revealed to me, or the vice versa, the other way around. Whatever it is, but everybody at their level. Okay. So now I had a chiddush. Listen to this. It's very, very beautiful. You ready? If Nase, which is Torah, means revealed, and Nishma, which is hearing, which is hidden, which is tefillah, maybe this is why Rav Chaim Vital says that the last generation before Mashiach comes, their main avoda is going to be tefillah. Because what does Rav Nachman teach us? That the Baalei Tshuva in the end have the hidden Torah within them. And how does that hidden Torah reveal itself? Only through tefillah. So why does Rav Chaim Vital say at the end tefillah is going to be the main avoda? Because that's the only way that hidden things become revealed.
And he said the end is always like the beginning.
Yeah.
See what it does.
I want to go further. Chassidut has an amazing, amazing concept that at the end of time, you're going to know Mashiach is coming, and I actually heard a Chabad Rebbe speak to me about this, multiple actually. When the feminine dimension of the soul becomes prominent, right, which is what? Our desire to express ourselves, when that becomes prominent within society, you know Mashiach is coming.
And also,
Right now.
and also chutzpah. He said also chutzpah.
Right. It's right now.
So it's that for those.
So now, perhaps this means,
It's out there. It's like,
meaning, what is everybody doing all day? Facebook, social media, Instagram. What is that a form of? It's a feminine expression. Why is it feminine? Because you want to reveal who you are. According to Chassidut, that's a feminine concept. When you're hidden from the world,
All
that's
the Pisces are bringing Mashiach, basically.
that's right. You got it. Very good.
Not only that, politics,
Everybody. So
They're really trying to reveal a hidden Torah.
So this is what Rav Nachman is saying. That really, this feminine stage is the final stage of reality. Because to be feminine means to bring into reality what was previously hidden. And according to the Torah, you do that through prayer. So now maybe Rav Nachman is teaching the reason we should all do Hibodedut is because only through prayer will this final stage be complete. Because only through prayer is what's hidden revealed. So by doing an hour of Hibodedut a day, you're able to complete the process.
Like you said in the beginning, surrender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For when someone comes to a level higher than the first one, then his we will here takes on the aspect of we will do. And this keeps going on back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay. There's a pasuk, and then we'll take questions.
I'm just so thankful you broke it down again. I'm sorry for interrupting, because I try to listen to Likutey Moharan a couple times. Every time I listen to it from great Rebbeim, it's just, no matter how they try to break it down, how simple they try to make it, you just break your head listening to it.
Thank God.
That
It's really,
revealing a hidden Torah.
it's all Hashem. It's all Hashem. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I pray a lot that I should give you what you need.
Questions?
Not yet. But I pray a lot that I should give you what you need and that there's nothing of myself. So,
David Melech said on himself that he's worse than a dead dog.
yes.
Now, a dog forgets who its mother is 7 months after it's born.
Okay. How is he worse?
So and it says that if you ever slept with a goya, many Rebbeim say that you come back to this world as a dog. So how could he say such a thing about himself?
So I'll answer quickly,
How is it possible?
and then I'll finish this thing, and then we'll do questions. The reason why David HaMelech compared himself to a dog, worse than a dog, worse than a worm, is because a dog and a worm do what they're supposed to do. And a human being is the only thing in the world that's capable of not doing what it's supposed to do. So David HaMelech was saying, I can be even worse than a dog. Because at least a dog does what it's supposed to do, even though it's a nasty animal.
what is a human being supposed to do?
It's supposed to do whatever Hashem wants us to
Ratzon Hashem, not Ratzon my body.
do. Whatever Hashem wants us to do at any given moment is what Hashem wants us to, is what we're supposed to be doing. And when we don't do that, you're less than a dog.
Mamish. Even a dog has a better life. Even technically, a dog would have a better life. No
Okay,
bills,
so one
no
second,
rent.
listen to the pasuk. The pasuk says in Devarim, Hanistarut la Hashem Elokeinu. The hidden things are to Hashem our God.
What?
This is a pasuk in Devarim, in the last book of the Torah. It says the hidden things are to Hashem our God. Moshe Rabbeinu was telling this to the Jewish people. The hidden things are to Hashem our God, but that which is revealed applies to us and to our children forever to do all of the words of this Torah. Okay. So now Rav Nachman says there's a pasuk in Tehillim, the first Tehillim.
Rashi.
Says V'Torah Hashem V'Torah that I'm gonna meditate in the Torah of Hashem, and then it'll be His Torah. So it's a contradiction. It doesn't make sense. Are you in Hashem's Torah or you're in your Torah? So the Gemara says that when you delve enough and you learn and you merit enough within Hashem's Torah, it becomes your Torah. Does that make sense? Hashem's Torah is beyond you. It's something that's hidden from you. But when you toil enough in it, then it becomes your Torah. That's what David HaMelech meant. I meditate in it day and night so that your Torah becomes my Torah. That's what David HaMelech is saying. So that's our concept that we're saying here. Why? Because we said v'naseh v'nishma. First, it's hidden from you, but then it's revealed to you. When it's hidden from you, it's called Hashem's Torah. But when it's revealed to you, it's called your Torah. Does that make sense? You guys still with me? Rav Nachman says in the Aleph Beit book that he wrote yes, while you were still in your diapers. He says all Torah knowledge
While you're still in your diaper.
I wasn't even in the thought process.
while he was in his diapers.
Oh, okay.
All Torah knowledge, meaning da'at, regarding whether it's Torah that has to do with man in relationship to man, right? Laws that have to do with man and man, or between man and God. He says when you achieve any further knowledge in the Torah, he says that this is the success of the Jewish soul. So let's say you learned something tonight that you didn't know before you came here. He says that this is the achievement of your soul. Every time that you learn a little more, this is a higher success achievement of your soul. Just like when you study for a test and you do well on it and you get a degree, that's the achievement of you at school. Your soul's achievement comes when your da'at increases. Every single time your godly knowledge increases, that's a higher achievement of your soul. So therefore, when Hashem's Torah becomes your Torah, which is every time that you learn something new, that's the success of your soul. And then your Venishma, which is I will hear, becomes Naaseh. I do it, I know it, I understand it. And so on and so forth forever.
Time for a question.
I have something so beautiful that I want to say.
Hold it. Discipline yourself.
Let me say it quickly and then we'll ask questions.
Holy chutzpah.
We're going into Shabbat. I want to go on fire. You ready? Yes. Rav Nachman says you're going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in this until you traverse all the worlds. From Asiya to Yetzirah to Bria to Atzilut. He says until you get to something which is called Bereshit Nekuda Bria. The dot, which was the beginning of creation, which is really the beginning of Atzilut, which is the beginning of all the creation of all the worlds. Okay? He says, when you get there, then Hashem's Torah is your Torah. Okay?
Because now you're one with Hashem completely.
Right.
Therefore it's yours.
Right, exactly. But he says even there's a higher level than that. Which is called Hashem's prayer.
Which is above Torah.
Which is above Torah. But he says you can get there too. Okay?
And there's another higher level.
So now listen to
There's always higher.
Yeah, and he said, what's above that is the higher level of his Torah. This goes on and on forever.
It's infinity.
It doesn't end.
Hashem doesn't have.
There's no end. There's no limit to this.
Infinity literally means infinite.
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly what it means. There's no end to it. Rav Nachman, that's why he says you should always know you have so much to go.
Oh, yeah.
The rabbis of Breslov will tell you have to be very honest with yourself. Even if you think you've achieved anything, he said you don't understand how much there is. There is no limit. Ein Sof literally means there's no limit to this. You could be Moshe Rabbeinu. You have just as much to go as any human being on the planet because there's no end to this.
even Moshe Rabbeinu knew that he didn't know anything anyway.
That's why he was so humble. That's why he said, I'm nothing. Because he actually understood. I really am nothing.
That's why I love Gedalia Fensley. He rocks his Rolex, he does his thing.
Yeah.
I knew someone was going to mention it.
Okay. So wait. Before the question, I want to give you a nice kiddush. The Vilna Gaon says something amazing. People will tell you all the time, the rabbis always reference, there is a klal, there is a rule in the Torah. The sages have taught us this very deep secret, that when every generation passes, the light of the Torah is concealed more and more. It's diminished since the time of Matan Torah. When the Torah was given at Har Sinai, it was the greatest revelation of the Torah of Hashem since the light of the first day of creation. But ever since then, with every generation, that light has diminished. And my rabbi, who's been part of a few generations, he says there's no comparison between the tzaddikim of this generation and even just a few years ago. He says it's a different world. So if you can imagine between that and there, and 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or thousands of years ago, you couldn't even imagine. He said the rabbis of the Gemara, every single one of them was capable of bringing Techiyat HaMeitim. He says we're not in the same planet, we're not in the same universe. Okay, but the Vilna Gaon says something amazing. Says, that's true, but while the light of the Torah is diminishing with every generation, the light of Mashiach is growing more and more intense. So therefore, the closer you are to the coming of Mashiach, the higher is that light. So if we're really the last generation, the light of Mashiach is most intense in our generation. Yeah, but we have no Torah knowledge whatsoever. And everybody's becoming Baal Tshuva. But we have to feel it. So this is what I wanted to say. Maybe, since the light of Torah is Matan Torah, and that's diminishing, but the light of Mashiach is intensifying, what is that light? It's the light of Tefillah.
And that's what Chaim Vital says, that the main ikr is Tefillah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, Rabbi, what you're saying is, this generation, our light is running out of fluid, but we're using the effort anyway.
And that effort is really the light of Mashiach. That effort with no fuel is our fuel.
Yeah, because right before light dies out, it gives the most of its light.
Okay.
And
this is Mashiach. Rav Nachman says about Mashiach, his main weapon is tefillah. So therefore, our thing is tefillah. And I was thinking to myself, I know we always talk about it, but it like really hit home. If our whole thing in our lifetime, in this generation, is to accomplish very intense tefillah, and that's going to fix the world, that's going to end this whole thing, what is going to bring that except through tremendous suffering? All the difficulties that we go through in our life, all of the things that just confuse us and make us feel like we're spiraling out of control, and all of these things, and then they bring us to pray, and we don't understand why Hashem is doing this to us. It could be that in previous generations we mastered the Torah. Maybe you already were Rav this in the Gemara. You're done with that. There's one thing left we have to fix. It is tefillah. And there's no way to do that except through breaking, except through darkness. Questions?
No, questions. It's done already.
Hashem is stopping time for us. Quickly, go.
I came up with a kiddush during the Torah.
Yes, go quickly.
You spoke about how when you do something for the tzaddik, it's a higher revelation than him actually teaching you.
That's what the Gemara says, yeah.
Right, we spoke about that earlier. So I came up with a kiddush. I don't know if it's written anywhere. What does it mean that tzaddik falls 7 times? It could mean that really he's just asking you to do an avoda. That's like the inyan of the yerida, right? That's like the body. And then when you do that for him, he comes back up through it. He becomes greater than before. You know what I'm saying? Tzaddik falls 7 times.
Very deep.
Because it doesn't make sense that a tzaddik would fall. How are you a tzaddik and you're falling? It doesn't make sense. Because he's still labeled a tzaddik. You know what I mean? So I got from here, like, when you ask the body to do something, also I had a second version to
It's
that.
a fall.
It's a fall.
I get it.
It's a lack of a
It's
movement.
nice, I like it.
So I wrote, on the second version I wrote, it means you're asking your body to do something, as opposed to it being right in front of you. You ask for it to be changed, change in nature. That's an Indian of lacking.
Yeah.
But therefore, that's what makes the tzaddik fall. It's not that he does a sin, but it's just he involves
He has
the
to
body.
fall for the body.
Yeah, he has
I
to
got
fall for
it.
the body.
I like it. It sounds emet to me. Sounds true. Because I grew up.
Ah,